the Bassmonk channel. Today we will feature Donna Marie Marcantonio's original song, River, off her Room to Grow CD. There will also be an interview after the song. If you enjoy what you see, please like and subscribe below, as there is more to come.
If you put your feet upon the land, gently walk, son. If you reach your hands up to the sky and touch a bit of heaven, bring it down in your thoughts, son. In its wisdom you must here abide. And the rivers flowing forth, we will all have to report on what we have created, brought unto this world. And the wisdom's flowing still, you hear it quiet as a trill beneath bombardments of the traffic of the day. If you walk upon the city streets, hear my voice, son. If you walk beneath the neon haze, remember in the silence what I taught as we talked, son. In its wisdom you will find your gaze. And the rivers flowing, and the wisdom's flowing still, you hear it quiet as a chill beneath the bombardments of the traffic of the day. If you walk within the boardroom, talk as you walk, son. If you walk upon the busy streets where people sell their wares and talk their talk, do not gawk, son. Remember what is happening underneath. For the rivers flowing forth, we will all have to report on what we have created, brought unto this world. And the wisdom's flowing still, you hear it silent as a hill beneath the quiet of the closing of the day. What I feel is most important is that we are connected with this earth realm, but also with the spiritual, heavenly realm. And that as we walk on this earth, you know, it says in this song that we walk gently, that we're visitors here, you know, that we are in response. We're not trampling and just us, we are in relationship to the earth. And to do that, we need to have quiet times that we can listen to the wisdom that's always present, especially when we're in natural settings, which is where natural settings or quiet settings, and listen. And when we hear it, the thing is to take it down and to bring it into this earth, to bring it into. So, you know, interesting. Like I said, songs started coming to me. Well, even when I was a child, I would sit in nature and just get inspired, but songs actually started to come to me in poems and paintings when I was in college. And they were very inspired and very, you know, it's almost like they were a higher part of me. And I was very aware of the fact that I needed to keep my feet on the ground. And so doing something like teaching, you know, especially when you come into the classroom and you're with all these different kids and parents and administrators, I always felt like I needed the two of those to keep balanced. I feel like maybe someday, you know, I'll simply be sharing my music and my art, you know, my writing, but that will be when I'm much more matured and integrated with these very grounding experiences of interacting with children, and then people have, you know, and families and so forth. So, yeah, I've often wondered, you know I personally couldn't have been somebody who earlier in life, maybe now or later on, could just go out and just do singing on the road. I really valued even though it could get in the way at times. I think, you know, things mature over time. But the interesting thing is my dad liked to write, and he liked to sing, and he was kind of poetic and artistic, and he gave me a notebook when I was young and said, you know, you could write your thoughts down. So I wrote journals as a kid, and in college, in high school, when I started to have to write essays, I just loved, although the first time I had to write an essay was daunting and overpowering, but once I started writing, I loved writing, and I would sit there for hours with a thesaurus and a dictionary to find just the right word for every word in my essay. And I just loved words because they were like portals to meaning. So that's when I really, so that's another avenue where I really started writing. The most important thing for me is that my life is consistent with my music and what I'm saying. And, you know, often when things came to me, they were definitely more inspired than my own inner life and my own way. And so it's something that I've worked to try to bring into congruence. And for me, the most important thing is not to try to impress somebody or to even, I don't have the energy or the excitement to work so much on technique as much as getting clearer on what's real and what to convey and how to say it in a way. So authentic. Yeah, authentic. Yeah, so that yeah. So that's for me what I find important. Like when I first started playing music, then I went to NYU, and I got connected with the music scene in the Village, and there were open mics, and I loved, it doesn't matter if somebody had a great voice, if they were skillful. For me, I just liked people expressing themselves. I didn't like this, I was never interested in this dichotomy of somebody being better or, you know, because they were on stage or had a skill than somebody not. I felt like just the honest expression. value of that was us connecting. But now, we each have gifts to share, and we each have poems to share, we have songs to share, we have truths to share. We can value ourselves, we can entertain ourselves, and I feel, as a musician, we just had a house concert in my hometown on Long Island at a friend's house. We started with the salon, small group of people, we had 8 of us. It was perfect, I think between 8 and 14 or 12. It started out with somebody sharing a quote from Dalai Lama, and people just shared from their life experiences, whether they had a poem or whatever, and we had a nice, deep conversation about things that were important to us, spiritual, soulful. I got to know who I was being with as a musician. We then had some nice, healthy snacks, and then I shared songs. People played percussive instruments along. We did some sing-alongs. It was like a satsang. It was our own melding and coming together. And for me, sharing music or sharing poem, it's like sharing a meal, but it's a soul meal, and so it's something that could nourish us. One of my friends came a little later, and he had a very hard work day, and he was tired, but his partner said, well, let's just go, and they came, and he said he felt invigorated, he'd felt nourished. So, for me, it's about the nourishment. It's about, it's what's conveyed, and it's about us nourishing each other and ourselves, and knowing that we have a lot to offer. I think we do a disservice to ourselves when we separate art from life so much so and don't allow for that integration. I don't know if you've had this experience, but if you're on stage and you're playing, you could just, through music, you could feel at one with people. It goes beyond boundaries. And we need that. We need that to be able to get past all these things so that we can unite with each other. And we need the inspiration, and we need the big picture and the clarity that comes through art to know how to move through the difficulties in life, and to get perspective, and to know how to find our way. And everybody, can, even writing a poem, everybody could in some way express that higher view, in their own way. Not that people have to, but we all can, just like we can all cook, or we could all do, mundane things. We could all put our energies into developing capacities there and sharing. And it used to be that art was just a part of life. It was in the pottery, it was in the structure of the building, so the people were just reminded of truth in everything. It's not a separate thing. And so for me, my hope is to, stage is fine. It's not to say not to have it, but to also bring it into the living room, bring it into the hospital room, bring it into the office, bring it into our daily life, that we can reflect and express what's real and true, to have that juice, to be able to deal with life and face it and make good choices. If you look at the word intention, shun is just the suffix, makes it into a noun. Ten is holding, and in is in. So we're talking about, holding something into something. We're focusing. There's a purpose, right? So just like there's 2 parts of the brain, there's 2 ways we could come at it. One is that we intend, we focus, we decide, we want to make something happen, right? And so we take that and we keep gearing everything to it. So that's one way to do something. Another way to do something is to, you might think it's not intention, but it's kind of the yin part. You're receiving an intention that's already there. That's because, there's a world beyond us of reality. We're receptive to it, and
it's almost like Michelangelo. He knows there's something in there, and he's just paying attention to what is not it and being able to have it reveal itself. Both of those are forms of intention. The first one is more valued in our culture. The second one is what's needed to have more value in our culture. The value of a word is that it's pointing us to something beyond the word, okay? That's the intention. If we're just putting words out there and they're not pointing to anything that's real, they're without intention, you might say. They're not pointing us to anything. So if the art is not coming from something beyond the physical, beyond the form that it's trying to point to and convey, it's empty. So it doesn't even hold together in any way. So if somebody lives a life and has something they want to convey and it's never been said or they don't even know how, and they find a way and it comes out and people love it, and then people are like, well, wow, let's do that again, and just try to do all the outer expressions of what was coming out, it's losing the juice. And see, that's what our culture tries to make us look outside rather than what is really coming out in this moment.
It's like playing the same solo over again. You improvise and then you try and copy your own improvisation.
Right, and then you try to make sure you're doing it the same way, and that's not the point. The point is more that you're and that, to me, is what if I've had any technique, my technique has always been, I want to make sure I'm staying connected to what's real, and that I'm not working so much on my technique as in making sure that when I'm singing, I'm being connected so that I'm conveying something, so that people can connect to what I'm connecting to. So I think the intention is but not to get too caught up in our head, about that. The focus is just so that we can, it's like meditating. You focus on something so that you can then let go and be in. Once you're connected, that focus is to connect you to then being in a stream, which is a current, it's present. A river. My hope for myself and for everyone is that we all value the innate knowingness that we have, an innate connection to our own purpose, our own dream, our own contribution. And it's not an easy road. It's not like everyone around us is going to understand it or get it, but that we just feel it's valuable, that we bring it and we share it for the good of us all.